Hello again. Okay, second video tonight. Okay, I just did one on enchanting your mirror or a mirror. Now I want to show you some things you can do for protection. There are so many ways that you can protect yourself. Um, if you've been looking at your herbs, like I asked you to do, you have found that a lot of them have a protective quality in them, some more than others, are used almost specifically for protection, and some just have the property in there. So I'm going to go over some ways that you can use these. Of course, everybody knows about sage. Well, it's a protection quality too. So when you're saging your home, getting rid of negative energy, you're cleansing your home. That's also putting a protection barrier up. Most protection herbs that we mix together has sage in it. If it's one herb you need to have, it's sage. And like I said, it grows wild, out everywhere. I've even seen some around here. So, I mean, you got desert sage, you got white sage, you've got your regular mesa sage. It's all sage. Some people say white sage is a little better. I think it's all the same. It's all about the intent anyway. One thing you can do is plain old eggshells. I usually have a really big jar of this, but I've gotten to where I don't use it so much anymore. So you can use these. You can save your eggshells, like, when you cook breakfast or whatever. Save them up, rinse them out. You don't want all that gunk in them to cause bacteria and stuff to grow in your eggs. It's a little bit of work, but it's worth it. Nothing worthwhile comes easy, they say. So, and this right here is a lot of eggshells. This little jar, I'd say it's probably about 8 ounces, 8-ounce jar. Took quite a while to get these eggshells to fill this. Okay. As you get them, you can go ahead and crush them up so they won't be in the way, or I put them in a bowl or another bigger jar until I get ready, and then I'll just go, put them in my pestle and mortar and crunch them up, and then put them in the jar I'm gonna keep them in. That's another thing. We don't like plastic in witchcraft. We believe that, or I believe, I need to stop saying we, I think all of us feel the same about this. The plastic, is made out of so many different materials, and it's just, it soaks things up, like, I don't know, it's not as durable as glass. Like if you have something in it, it seems, the plastic would soak some of whatever up. I think it takes the energy, a lot of the energy out of whatever you've got in there, because it soaks it up into the plastic. Glass wouldn't do that. Okay. And it's actually a natural ingredient. Glass, all it is, of course, is extremely heated sand. So anyway, we use glass. So you put it in your glass jar. Now, you wouldn't be able to do this after it's full. So when it gets about every quarter of the way up the jar, I put in a little crushed rosemary. Okay. Just to add, the eggshells themselves are protection. If you think about it, I mean, when the embryo is in the egg, it's protected, right? It's all about protection in that egg. So the shell is full of protection, and that's why we use it. a lot of this stuff, if you just look at common sense, you'll see why we use it the way we do for magic stuff, because it's been put onto this earth as a protection. Everything in an egg is protected. The whole point of it being in an egg. So anyway, every quarter of the way up, I'll put a little bit of rosemary in there to add to it, to add to the protection. Now, I usually enchant everything I put in. So after I put that little bit of eggshells and then the little small layer of rosemary, then I'll enchant it. I'll put my intent in there. Same until this whole jar is full. And then, I'll give it a little shake, get the rosemary and all that mixed up. And then I'll enchant the whole jar. Okay. Now, you don't have to, people think that you have to draw a nonstop line around your property or around whatever that you want. Now, that's going to take you a lot of eggshells depending on how big your property is. That's just a little crazy. You don't have to do that. You just walk around your property. You can have, sticking your fingers in here a little at a time and just sprinkle as you go. Sprinkle beside you as you walk, and it doesn't have to be a whole lot. And this whole time, you're saying your intent. You're chanting your spell to protect your property from anyone who wants to harm it. Would be a better way to include everything in it, okay? From any negative energy and anyone that wants to harm. Could mean a burglar, never been able to say that word. It could be, somebody don't like you and wants to burn your house down. Who knows? But this is what you're doing. You're doing that. Now, we also have black salt, which if I have time this morning, I may do one more and show you how to make this. Pretty simple to make. It doesn't cost a whole lot of money. It's pretty much everything you already have or should be pretty much you already have everything you have in your cabinet, except for maybe one ingredient. But this right here is the same way. You can sprinkle this across you can do this around your property if you wanted to. You could put it in the corners of your house. I wouldn't recommend dropping it all through your house. There's nothing poisonous in here, but I don't think you'd want it, strung out all through your house. And then, of course, once a month when you go through and do your smudging, or I do it, usually right before the full moon, because on the full moon I have other things I'm wanting to do. So, when you're cleaning, that keeps a lot of the negative energy out of your house. You can clean. Make sure you get in your corners and wipe off your baseboard. It's not. I don't know if our mothers knew what they were telling us when they said clean them baseboards. They thought it's just because they were dirty, and that's probably right. But negative energy is like dust. It settles in places. If you have crap in your closet, clothes that you don't wear, get rid of them. Get rid of it so you can clean, and so stuff can't settle on it. Clutter, hoarding, anything like that makes it to where you cannot clean. All that stuff's collecting that dust and all that negative energy. And it may not be, don't get a picture of some, black ghost hovering over all your stuff. I guess you could. It'd make you clean it quicker. But anything, if you have an argument in that house, that month, or if you're yelling at your kids or your animals or, whatever, then that's negative energy, you know, not necessarily extremely bad energy, but it's negative nonetheless. And once you get that stuff that keeps building up, well, it just sits around your house. And think about what that's doing, you know. So whenever you go and clean every month, cleaning your corners and vacuum your old black salt up and put some more down if you want, or if you've decided that next month you want to do something different, that's fine too. You can put this across the last step, like if you have steps leading up to your porch, the last step before you put your foot on the landing to go to your door, you can put that and nobody will even see it or notice it. They may think it's just dirt. Put it right up in the corner, right up by where the step meets the wall. Just put you a thin line through there. And that will keep whoever's coming through your door, keep them from having the negative energy, bringing it into your house. It absorbs it when they step across it. Okay. I didn't bring everything out here, not because I'm telling you there is so much of these protections you can do. If you've been looking through your herbs and studying your herbs, then when I first started these videos, I told you about the 5 well-known, easy to get protection herbs. If you've read up on them, and you should have by now, they're all for protection, even the cinnamon. But cinnamon is like a universal thing. I'm going to do a video on cinnamon all by itself because it is so awesome. You would be surprised. And when you was a kid, you made cinnamon toast. You had no idea what kind of magical properties you were putting in your body, and they're awesome, and protection is one of them. A lot of times if we're doing a spell and we want to spice it up or, put oomph to it or something, put cinnamon in there. Most of the time it's pepper flakes, something to give it that, wow, we're getting out of here. We're going out into the universe and the stuff's moving faster. That's why we use some of those things, and you'll learn all that as we go. Now, a lot of those herbs, you can just put one, or you can mix as many. I'm gonna put all 5 of them or 20 of them in there if you want. I mean, you can't overkill, I guess, but do what you want. But whatever herbs you want to use, say you want to put some rosemary and bay leaf, or I can't believe nothing's coming to my head. There's so many of them. Rue, whatever herb you want to put in a bottle, and this is the only time I'll say, okay, go ahead and use this plastic spray bottle. If you have a glass one, it's better. But being how you're going to use this quickly, then it's okay, I guess, to use the plastic spray bottle. Because it's not going to sit in there long enough for that plastic to soak up that energy. And you don't want to make, a whole big, old Windex bottle full of it, just about that much. How much do you think it's going to take you to clean? Or you can make a whole lot more of it and you shake it up, and you need to do this, let it set for a couple of days. Or I would, if you think about it. If not, just go ahead and make it up and use it. But I think everything's better when it sets for a little while, even though it's going to be in that plastic, which I don't like, but you can go ahead and use it. The properties are all there. I just like to let them mingle together and soak up all the goodness, and you know what I mean? It just seems more right. But I use glass spray bottles, so if you're using a plastic, just go ahead and use it, I guess. You can make more up and shake it up really good. Put your intent into it. Sit there and think, oh, I'm going to clean up all the negativity out of my house. This whole time that you're shaking this solution, you're putting your intent into it. Grab the bottle if you have to. Set it down in front of you and close your eyes. Imagine that white light that I always talk about shooting out of your hands and into that bottle. You know, this is what's happening. You're going to clean all the negativity out of my house. My house will be pure, negativity free. Whatever you want to say, however you want to enchant it. You can pour some of that into your mop water. Mop your floors with it. Once again, you can sprinkle some of those herbs in the corners, or somewhere on your windowsills. None of those are poisonous. So if you have kids and they would happen to get into them, of course, I wouldn't put them in my windowsills because the whole point, you're also cleaning your house. So you don't want stuff sitting around in your windowsills. If you put it in the corners and the floor, it's there, but it's not noticeable to other people. I have some of that cleaning vinegar. It's got lavender in it, which gives it the pretty smell and calming smell. And that makes sense, after you've cleaned your house, and you know how it feels even before you were becoming a witch. When your house is clean and everything's free of clutter, don't you feel much better? Just think about the stuff you can't see, the lavender adds that feeling, like, oh, wow, it smells so good in here and I feel so good. And, I'm not all stuffed up anymore. And, I'm thinking clearer. Well, there's a reason for that. All the bad, the negative energy is gone. So you can do that. There's so many ways. You can spray that into the air as a mist, you can spray it on your door handles. That's a good thing when you're not only keeping germs down when you use this stuff, but you're whopping off negative energy from people that have touched your doorknob. Of course, the main thing besides the eggshells, they've been around probably since witchcraft began, I would think. Because that's what some witch was probably sitting around thinking, oh, well, or went and got a chicken egg, and broke it open and say it didn't crack all the way open the first time. And she's like, well, that's pretty protective, and boom, there was the idea. Never know how things get started. But another main one is the broom. Just plain old witch's broom. Contrary to popular belief, no, we don't ride them. That'd be fun, I think. But they're usually hung above the doors, as I was talking about before, to sweep negative energy back out the door. If somebody comes in and they're in a bad mood, or if you've come in and you've brought your work home with you, blah, 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 it was a bad day, that broom is going to sweep all that negative. When you open that door, it's going to detect that negative energy. It's going to sweep it right back out the door. That's what the brooms are actually for. There in your car, you can use this mist to wipe down your car, your steering wheel. I wouldn't recommend putting anything on your seats unless they're leather or vinyl, something like that. But your steering wheel, your dashboard, the knobs that you touch on the radio, because like I said, if you've had a bad day at work, where's the first place you get into when you leave your job? Your car. All that negative energy is just all over you. You can even carry a little spray bottle. You can get them at Walmart, those little travel things. Put some solution in that and keep it in your car for a while, or in your purse. Anytime you feel that you have too much negativity on you, or if you've got a coworker that is just always crappy and in a bad mood and brings you down, spray some of that, not necessarily on you, spray it around you, like spray it up over your head and let it just kind of, it'll cleanse your aura. I have some, but I call it aura spray. It just kind of cleans my aura. And I also have some full moon mist that I use when I'm out working with the moon on a full moon, or putting my water out there. That's another thing. I hope y'all put out your moon water, or your water to make moon water tonight. And I don't know if I told y'all about that while I'm thinking about it, but when you're making your moon water, make sure that you purify it, okay? Or you can buy the purified bottled water, except guess what? It comes in plastic bottles. So the best way you can be sure that it's pure is either buy the Florida water, which, I don't know how much that costs. I don't use it. I just purify my own and make it. It's a lot simpler, cheap, and quicker. And I don't have a bunch of water sitting around. You just put a little bit of salt. Depending on how big of a jar I use, you make the big mason jars full of it. Fill your pan up to how much ever you think you're going to need, and then put as much salt according to how much water you have. You can put in, if it's a big pot, I like that, and about yay deep. I probably put, I don't know, 2 tablespoons of salt in there. Bring it to a rough boil, let it boil a minute, and then turn it off. And of course, you need to do this earlier in the day too, because that water is going to have to cool off before you put the jar lid on it, or you're going to seal that jar. It's still going to be hot enough that you're canning it. It's just like how you set them in boiling water when you're canning. It will seal that lid on. I mean, you can still get it off, but just telling you probably need to wait. And like tonight, it's cold here, so I didn't want to put a full steaming hot jar of stuff out there and then all of a sudden get the cold real quick and bust my mason jar. So anyway, yeah, then you set it out all night and you have your moon water. Anyway, back to your protection stuff. There are so many ways. And you can protect anything. You can go to your kid's house if they're grown and sprinkle some of this around their door or around their yard, or and chant it, and they won't even know what you're doing. You could have it. I mean, you can just have some in your pocket or whatever, and just nonchalantly throw it out. They won't even know what you're doing, probably. The same for the crystals and stones. A lot of them have protective qualities in them, like the amethyst. That's the main one that comes off the top of my head. And of course, clear quartz can be used also. It can be used for anything. So if you want good luck, you can carry your in protection too. You make sure put a stick of cinnamon, maybe some cloves, a few cloves, some star anise. They look like little stars. And a clear quartz crystal. You can mix everything. Put it in a little mojo bag. You can hang them on your rearview mirror for protection in the car, so help you protect you from being in a wreck. You can carry it in your purse for prosperity and protection. We have little bitty tiny witch bottles that come as pendants that you can actually open and pour stuff in and then close it back, and you're wearing that all day long as protection. And people wonder, well, why is everything so much protection? Because we need it as witches. We have to not only We protect our families, our pets, our travels, our homes, our cars, our jobs, friends. Um, we protect ourselves from um, health risks, all that I mentioned before, and from other witches, because there are some witches out there that aren't very nice, and they just decide they don't like you, so they want to put some bad shit on you. Which, if you know what to do, like I've explained to you, and I'll show you the reversal spell. But if you have this protection up around you, it's going to be really hard for her to get to you. Um, Depending on how seasoned she is, um, she may still be able to get to you without doing some of the other things that I'm going to teach you. But it's going to be really hard for her to do it. And it's not going to be as bad as she intended it because you have so many blockages. She'd have to do too many things to get that stuff off you. She'd have to do an unblocking, blah, 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 blah. She's going to have to do all this stuff just to throw that energy, bad energy towards you. Let's hope that don't ever happen, but it has been known to happen. So anyway, I'm trying to think. Oh, when you're cooking, I mean, they're herbs, right? And a lot of this stuff you probably already use and don't even know that they have magical properties in them. You can cook with basil, oregano, even cinnamon, sage. Thanksgiving is a really bright time for sage. You put your sage in your stuffing. You can use it in other stuff. Parsley flakes, garlic. Garlic's awesome. Put it in your food. There's teas you can make. This is why it's so important, as I told you before, to study your herbs. Make sure that when you say, well, I need some, what can I do for protection? There's so many different things to do and ways, and you can switch it up. You can make it your own. These are just the basic things people use. I stuck rosemary in my eggshells. Some people don't do that. They just use plain eggshells. As I said, you can put it in a spray, in your mop water, whatever you want to do with this stuff. It's all about your magic, your intent. And intent is the biggest part of it. Now, when I say intent, and you need to work on that too, you need to practice on concentrating, because that's what it is. My hair keeps getting stuck on my chair. It's concentrating, and I know it's really hard sometimes to concentrate, even for me, because my mind is going nonstop all the time. I'm always thinking of a million things at once, so I can't get one thing accomplished. Usually, if I start doing something, I've got 5 different irons in the fire, and I start out with one. So if you're anything like me, it's hard to concentrate. So you have to set your mood. You have to prepare. You can start before you enchant your mirror, as the video I said before, or before you do any spell. Sit in a hot bath. Lay there. Some people meditate. This is my way of meditating, I guess. I'll sit in a hot tub of water with certain herbs in there. There's herbs for clearing your mind. There's herbs for concentration. You'll just have to look your stuff up and find them. Because in doing this, I'm showing you how to learn them. You'll learn them quicker than me just sitting here telling you, because there's a lot of them and a lot of different things that they do. So anyway, there's a few things that you can make up. This is easy to make. go ahead and start making you a little bit of eggshell mixture or just your eggshells. Make sure you clean them out and have them dry before you put them in here, okay? Or you're going to just have a moldy mess. Okay? Your black salt. If I have time here in a minute, I will. It's pretty quick. I'll make some and show you how to do it because you can never have enough of this, I don't guess. So I'll get off here and then I'll try to come back and do one on showing you how to make the black salt. The eggs mixture that's all it is eggs, your eggshells. If you want to put rosemary or a little bit of sage in there, you can use powdered sage from your kitchen. The sage you use to spice up your dinner. Put that in there and channel them together and keep going until you fill your jar up. That'd be something witchy and fun to do. I'm always doing something. Trust me, I'm always making some kind of oil or whatever. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go, and I'm going to try really hard to come back on here and show you how to make the black salt. Okay. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Bye-bye.